My name is Alicia Hallbeck. I am the team lead of the Family Justice and Accountability Bill, Nebraska chapter, written by Francesca Amato, a mother of 7 children and a survivor of addiction. I'm here to share a story, not just my own, but one that echoes the experiences of countless families across this nation. It is a story of systemic failure, of unchecked power, and of a Department of Health and Human Services that in my case struck a match to my life and watched me walk through the burning fires with no remorse. I stand here not as a victim, but as a voice for reform, a voice for those who have been silenced by a system that too often prioritizes control over compassion, fiction over fact, and power over justice. Today, I ask you to listen, not only to my story, but to the systemic corruption within DHHS that allowed it to happen. I ask you to consider, how does an agency tasked with protecting families justify actions that tear them apart? How do those responsible for such injustices live with themselves when their actions embody the very definition of harm? Over the course of my journey, DHHS opened 5 cases, resulting in removal of my children. Each case was marked by the same pattern: a refusal to acknowledge my progress, a dismissal of my efforts to rebuild my life, and a relentless campaign to paint me as an unfit mother through fabrications that defy reason. No matter the strides I made, DHHS refused to recognize my progress in court. Instead, they crafted a narrative so far removed from reality that it would be absurd if it weren't so devastating. I was accused of heinous acts, of being beaten in front of my children to the point of requiring medical attention, though no medical records exist to support this claim. I was accused of manufacturing methamphetamines and causing an explosion in my home, a fabrication with no evidence to substantiate it. Most heart-wrenching of all, Michelle Milo, Robert Owlett, claimed my 6-week-old son was covered in bruises from head to toe and suffered a skull fracture. Claims that were not only false, but unimaginable to any parent. None of these accusations were true. They were a picture painted by DHHS, a portrait of a monster who did not exist. In court, my voice was silenced. This is not just my story. It is a symptom of a broader issue. The corruption within DHHS lies in its ability to wield unchecked power to fabricate narratives without accountability and to prioritize case closures over the well-being of families. How many other parents have been unjustly separated from their children? How many other children have been robbed of their parents due to lies that go unchallenged? How many families have been torn apart by an agency that claims to protect them?
You're the cutest mom ever.
Hi Congress, my name is Christine Maddox and I'm going to take 3 minutes to tell you my story. Thank you for your time. About 8 years ago, I went through a very corrupt court case in which I lost 4 out of 5 of my children. The reason I retained the 5th is because toward the end of my court case, which took 2 years out of our lives, and the idea of reunification being the goal with not one single visit with my children, there one moment and gone the next. I had lawyers that called it a witch hunt and advised my ex-husband and I to leave the state. And we left to Washington State, in which case they opened a case, we worked the case. We actually ended up receiving apologies. They were mortified by the state of Ohio, mortified that we didn't have a single visit, mortified that our children were given new names, that there was a national alert put out, like I needed to be hunted. Not only were my constitutional rights violated, all of my children's constitutional rights were violated. Our heart cry was completely ignored. We weren't given visits, no familial association, nothing. I implore you to hear all of our stories. There's so many of us. The Family Justice and Accountability Act, I believe, should be passed. There needs to be a level of accountability for slander and libel for these people who defame our character, destroy families. This affects generations. My oldest son was 5 years old. He was put on medication, isolated, lied to, manipulated, put in facility to facility to facility. Tell me what 5-year-old deserves that. Tell me what family deserves to be coerced, lied to, manipulated. Every move you make is wrong. You can't cry, you can't become angry, you can't assert your rights or your children's rights or the right to record because it's all manipulated. Please. For my children, for myself, for my family, please hear our voices and don't let us go without being heard, without looking into our stories. And just add the layer on the cake. The judge that was on my case was Judge Linda Kate in Tuscarawas County, New Philadelphia, Ohio. Take a look at the Anthony Harris case. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. My name is Jeremy Church. I'm not sure where to start this video, but what I know is that there are folks who are out there hurting, much like I have been hurting over the years, who have had their children ripped out of their lives. A lot of it having to do with the court system or the other parent not being held accountable for the actions that they have continued to do to abuse my children. Now, there's a lot of folks out there whose children are being sexually abused or being manipulated and neglected as a form of child abuse. Not just to the children, but to the other parent. To manipulate an outcome and a narrative. And because we parents do not fit that narrative, this family's court system has used it to get against us and has also used children to weaponize them against us. I'm just going to let you know that I'm very disheartened by some situations that have happened. I gave up because the attorneys and the court costs and all of that were just, look, I don't come for money, and I'm having to work to pay child support. Even when I was not in the situation that I am in now, there was no way I'd be able to afford an attorney and live and survive and do the things that someone should be able to do to take and see their children and all of that. I ask that you please pass this bill. Thank you.
My name is Hannah Smith, and I am the team lead in the state of Georgia. I represent the families that have been harmed in family court by our very own judicial system. My case starts in October of 2020, where I was shot. And first, I'm going to tell you by naming the people who dismantled my family. Sean Whitworth, my first attorney, I had to file a 12-page state bar complaint with over 300 pages of direct evidence. Catherine Franklin, my second attorney, did not file hardly more than 3 motions. Out of 182 filings in my case, my attorneys only filed 32. Jordan Whitaker Kennelly and Kimberly C. Withrow represented my ex-husband in our Walton County, Georgia divorce and used prior knowledge to manipulate my custody case. Judge Tate, she signed a nunc pro tunc order to conceal an unlawful procedure and assigned a guardian ad litem to my case, barring me from attending the pretrial hearing and against my wishes. Judge Matthew, she reduced my custody to hours in public places. Judge Deborah Fluker, she expanded those restrictions and forced me into paid supervised visitations in Trinity 100 Mark. The guardian ad litem commits perjury on the stand countless times and was the sole reason why I was sent to jail in unpaid guardian ad litem fees after I was barred from admitting evidence on the record in my final hearing of 2023. That, mind you, became a permanent order after they used the UCCJEA for a temporary emergency ex parte removal of my children. I was shot and I did not see my children again until February of 2022, almost 16 months later. At that point, they forced us into reunification therapy and co-parent counseling. A bullet tore through my leg while I was protecting my children, and my ex-husband filed a custody petition under Georgia's UCCJEA statute without any lawful jurisdiction. The court accepted it anyway. They used false allegations to justify emergency orders, no evidence, no hearings, just an overnight, immediate removal. My attorneys failed me miserably, the judges punished me, and the guardian ad litem demanded thousands of dollars in fees. And when I couldn't pay, she followed through with her word and arrested me at my daughter's soccer game in March of 2024 in front of parents and teammates. I was jailed, not for abuse, not for neglect, but for the lack of ability to pay. And when I couldn't pay, I certainly was arrested and sent to Gwinnett County Jail for 7 days. She asked the court to keep me there until I did pay. That's not justice, that's debtor's prison. Our children and parents across this country need justice. We are desperate. We need our children home, and we need justice to be restored. Please support Francesca Amato's The Family Justice and Accountability Act 2025. It will save our children's lives.
My name is Ashley Carter, and I'm a mother. From a small town in Kentucky, from 2012 until 2021, I was a full-time stay-at-home mom. No criminal history, no addiction, no violence, no neglect. Just a mom who cooked breakfast, packed lunches, read bedtime stories, and thought love and stability were enough to keep her children safe. My real-life nightmare began when the divorce and family court process started. My children were 3 and 9. Today they're 7 and 13, and those years in between have been stolen from us. I have missed their first days of school, their birthdays, the sound of them laughing in my home, giggling in my bed. I will never get those years back. I have been jailed more than once for doing nothing more than speaking the truth publicly, exercising what should be my First Amendment right. Each time, my children were left wondering where their mother went. Each time, the message was clear: stay quiet or lose them forever. I have been called names and degraded in court in a way that no woman or mother should ever hear from an officer of the law. In my small town, the people in power make up their own rules. I asked for copies of my court hearings that were supposed to be public, but was told I needed the judge's permission. When I asked the judge, she refused to release, and I was silenced. The unthinkable happened. My children were placed with the very woman who helped destroy my marriage. A woman with a documented history of abuse. My youngest, only 3 at the time, was ripped from my arms, left with total strangers after never being away from me. My daughter wrote letters to the court begging to come home, begging to be with me. Those letters were twisted into evidence against me. For 4 years, I paid $100 a week just to see them for 1 supervised hour, several times going months, with no visit at all. Connections mattered more than truth, more than safety, more than the cries of a child. My children have been held captive and isolated, not just from me, but from their grandparents, from cousins, from everyone who loves them. They are prisoners inside a system that was supposed to protect them. And still, I stand here because what happened to us is not rare.
It's happening to mothers and fathers across this country who dared to speak up against corruption and abuse. Family court has become a place where truth dies behind closed doors. I'm asking you to look past the titles and robes and see the human cost. See the children growing up without the parent who would die for them. See the mothers who have done everything right and lost everything anyway. Because no parent should ever have to beg a courtroom to love their own children, and no child should ever have to wonder why justice forgot them.
Hi, my name is Edric Carter. I'm located in Georgia. Have a child support case. And pretty much, I have a lot of constitutional issues going on with this case. So I honestly know for a fact, just me reading the U.S. Constitution, that it's a violation of Article 3, Section 2, Clause 1. Pretty much it says that district attorneys cannot come in dispute between private individuals unless it's over land disputes or federal controversies. But they made me actually sign a waiver of jurisdiction to service in 2019, and basically wasn't complying with OCGA 911-4. And what happened is, once I challenged that 6 years later, which was this year in January, the judge and the prosecutor, honestly, they really started communicating ex parte to actually retroactively cure jurisdiction. What happened is the judge actually reissued a rule not see and sheriff entry for service 6 years later, hoping that I came to court so they can serve me 6 years later, because the sheriff entry for service was actually blank. And also my rule not see from 2019 was actually signed by a clerk instead of a judge. With that period, they tell me that they use, they simulate the legal process to actually get these orders. And then honestly, once you challenge them, they start retaliating by denying you your rights to your child, even though the U.S. Constitution basically says that every parent have a care custody to their child. And that was actually in Troxville versus Granville. Honestly, because we really just need your help. We really do. It's not benefiting the people at all. I honestly know for a fact every parent needs to support their child. And honestly, the courts are enabling the custodial parent to actually use them because it's not neutral decision making. Anyone who comes into their court, they're going to find them guilty anyway, because they're collecting those federal financial incentives. So if the U.S. Constitution says that everyone has a procedure due process by the neutral decision maker, how is that fair? It's not fair. It's violating the Constitution. And honestly, SEC versus Jarkissi, when that was passed, pretty much says that everyone has trial by jury, need a trial by jury. We need that.
My name is Brenda Cambron, and me and my husband been together for over 40 years. He ran for sheriff in Dixie County, Florida, and then we had no criminal record whatsoever. We did find out about a false fusion exchange bulletin on us. But the very sheriff that he was running against took my two children, my youngest, at 10 and 12. Yeah, so I also wanted to point out that we had successfully raised children already. We decided to have more children because we were sad our children went off to college, and our three oldest are doctors that graduated top of their class, and we homeschooled all of our children. So it really doesn't make any sense to take two children from very successful parents. And yes, indeed, we were in support of Donald Trump. It remained that this was unlawful seizure of our children. They are missing. I have no idea where they are. They were adopted to strangers on April Fool's Day 2020. And we have no idea where they are now. They're adults. They're 20 and 22. So I'd like to possibly get some help to find my family since they were unlawfully taken. And my daughter also reported abuse, and she's autistic. This is my daughter, Sage. I also have a son, Chris, who were taken from us. These are Sage's words when I was able to attempt to rescue back in around Mother's Day of 2019. Here we go. I'll explain it along the way. She said, "I never want to leave you again."
I'm so sorry.
She said, "I love you guys more than Miss Esther." Miss Esther's black. She wasn't white like me. She was a racist. She said she doesn't even know what she was saying.
She was hard to understand, wasn't she? Yeah, Mom, I talked to her on the phone before. And, you're the only American I know.
So you're the only American I know.
You're my real mom.
You're my real mommy.
I know. I'm so sorry. Okay, you're feeling sick today, I know. And, you pretty much didn't even... I don't want to be a part again.
I never want to be a part again. She mentions Mr. Jason and Marilyn. She never wants to let them take her to foster care again.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's Jason's fault, Miss Mary's fault. I had to go to foster care. Miss Mary, you in Maryland or Mary? Maryland. I'm so hopeful that I had to go to foster care.
It's all their fault. I had to go to foster care.
It isn't Jason's fault. As far as...
Okay.
Sexually abused children are not being protected in our family courts. How would you feel if you had to hand your child over to a sexual predator? Can you imagine? This is happening in courtrooms all across the country, where good, loving mothers are coming forward with sexual abuse of their children and are unable to protect them. A mother's first instinct is to protect her child. When the means and power to do this are stripped unjustly from a mother, there are no words that can describe the heart pain that goes on every day. Most of these cases are domestic violence cases that move into the abuse of the children. So we have coercive control, you have emotional abuse, physical abuse, stalking. I am one of those mothers. I lost my little girl to the sexual predator. At 2.5 years old, she disclosed sexual abuse. I had full custody. This was not a custody issue. I lost her to the abuser with medical evidence, police reports, 3 police reports, hospital reports, lots of evidence. And she'd say to me, "Mommy, how come nobody believes me? Why do I have to go to my dad?" I lost her at 4.5 years old, fighting in the court system with everything I had. Financially, I lost everything I owned, fighting to protect her. I was in supervised visits for 8 years, treated as a hardened criminal. I got to see my daughter 1 hour a week, and I watched her deteriorate horrifically. This is trauma to a child. Horrible, horrible trauma. We have these cases every day. I get calls every day from women all across the nation. This is a national epidemic. When you look at how this is affecting our society, we all need to come together to make this difference. This is all of us. This isn't just happening to this family or this family, because it does affect all of us. According to the ACE study, Adverse Childhood Experience, which is done by Dr. Vincent Folletti, that was done in the 80s, it shows the drug addiction, the alcoholism, the suicide rate, all kinds of post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety. This is all stemming from what's happening to our children, the trauma that's happening. We need to take a look at this. So here we are with all that research and all that information, and we're still doing nothing. I feel that Moms Fight Back can make a difference.
Hi, my name is Crystal Kolpak, and I am a victim of the family courts of Seminole County, Florida, the 18th Judicial Circuit. My story begins in 2017 when I decided to leave my ex. After a 2-year-long nightmare in court, we settled in mediation for 50-50. Immediately following this, he hires Amanda Jacobson and starts with the claims of parental alienation. In 2020, my children start to disclose abuse, every type of abuse. So I tell my attorney. He advises me not to report it, that if I do report it, they'll take my children and bankrupt me. I didn't believe him, so I reported it to everybody. DCF, DeLand PD, Seminole County Sheriffs, Seminole County Courthouse. Nobody believed me. Nobody did anything. Their whole investigation was calling my ex and asking him if he abuses my children. That was it. So after the case was closed, my ex filed for full custody. We had a 3-year-long bullshit trial, and it ended in February of 20. All right, then you can open.
I think this is mine.
Listen. Yep.
I'm opening this one first.
What is it?
I've always wanted this.
You did?
Yeah. This.
Oh, cool. Cool baby family.
What did Daddy do? Daddy hit? Oh, she said Daddy hit Violet. Oh, she's being aggressive.
No, she doesn't want me to video.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe, someday these will be the good old days. All the love you forget, and all these reckless nights you regret. Someday soon your whole life's gonna change. is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye. Please don't cry.
My two beautiful girls sitting on the bed, watching a movie, eating popcorn and drinking juice.
Just wait till we get home. Steve, put on the brakes.
Can't drink both of them, Autumn. Autumn's trying to double fist juice over here. Alright.
We'll always love you. We'll always love you, my darling, you. Bittersweet memories. That is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye. Please don't.
My name is Wes Acton, member of the Washington chapter for the Family Justice and Accountability Act that we hope will be passed. In 2016, I had to turn my ex-wife in for child abuse. First, I spent almost a year looking everywhere, church leaders, counselors, lawyers, anywhere I could to get her help. There was some sort of mental instability that was making her violent. I was trying to seek help first, but all we received was punishment. When her own lawyer in court, Travis Brandt, who is now a judge, said he does not believe his client is cognitively aware and understanding of what he's trying to relay to her. And she would be in court just lost. And then 1 minute at our home with the children, she would snap to being very unhinged and disturbed. I'll just leave it at that. December 19th, 2016 is when we had to turn her in. 10 months later, a miracle happened with a lot of hard work. Got my children back with full 100% custody. A lot of hard work and overwhelming evidence to prove that I was innocent. But during that time, and with the 1 week turning her in, my entire world changed. Almost my entire church turned against me here in East Wenatchee, Washington. They treated me like a monster. They even came to court and took the time to drive 40 minutes to the courthouse to lie about me, which I finally proved all the lies were untrue. They were absolute lies. That's how I got my full custody back. 5 years later of having my kids back, I found out when I could not find decent, sustainable employment, when people used to beg for me to work with them. I built data centers for Bitcoin. I was a commercial plumber. I did heavy equipment, everything. And I was valued and respected in my community. I found out later, gave to my ex-wife a founded finding, which she signed for. And the founded finding says, after I couldn't find any work and I went everywhere trying to get anything, I had to become my mom and dad's caretaker. Says this means the applicant cannot have unsupervised access to children or vulnerable adults after they gave me full 100% custody of my children. And because of that, lost our home, lost all means of trying to take care of my children. So we please ask that you pass the Family Justice and Accountability Act by Francesca Amato, that we can get the justice we need. Please help us.
How could that possibly be?
I understand the argument that it seems to be common sense and our ethical.
It's more than
morals.
common sense. It's statutes that prohibit perjury and submission of false evidence in court cases.
State statutes.
Are you telling me that a person in your client's shoes couldn't understand you can't commit perjury in a court proceeding in order to take somebody's children away?
Of course not, Your Honor.
Of course not.
Then isn't the case over then?
And the case is over.
Because
Costanich is distinguishable in my view. How in the world Costanich deals with a secondary, foster care? That's a whole strange thing. It's not a person's real child.
even if Costanich is...
And guardian's the same thing.
Even if Costanich is distinguishable, there is... Thus far, we have not been presented with any clearly established right that tells us that what our clients did, which is remove the children pursuant to a court order.
No, but what they're accused of doing and what the issue is here is committing perjury in a court to take away someone's children. And you just said that's obviously not okay to do.
According to our moral compass and our ethical guidelines, but what we're here to decide is the constitutionality of it, and we look to the courts.
You mean due process is somehow consistent with a government official introducing perjured testimony and false? How is that consistent? I mean, I hate to get pumped up about this, but I'm just staggered by the claim that people in the shoes of your clients wouldn't be on notice that you can't use perjury and false evidence to take away somebody's children. That to me is mind-boggling.
In criminal proceedings, we know this to be true because that...
No, criminal proceedings, it's a court proceeding with a liberty interest, a fundamental liberty interest at stake.
And on the reverse side, the state...
And you're telling us that these officials who do this all the time couldn't be on notice that you can't commit perjury and put in false evidence.
In 2022, my husband and I were falsely accused of child maltreatment when unexplained injuries were found on our twin babies at 8 years old. After they were discharged from the hospital, we had taken them to doctor and ER visits 10 times with the same concerns of them being unexplainably fussy because we did not know why. We had them for less than 8 weeks, 10 visits, more than their weeks of life. On September 18, 2022, during an ER visit, we learned that they had internal injuries, but we did not know why. My husband and I were admittedly accused of child maltreatment. Within days, our children were taken away from us, but it wasn't just my twins. We had 3 children with us, my bonus son, who was 8 at the time. My twins continued having fractures even after they were taken from us, 3 sets to be exact. Later, we discovered that my twins and I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome as well as metabolic bone disease. I was placed on medications during pregnancy that contributed to their weakened bones. Despite this exonerating evidence, our parental rights were terminated. We took it a step further and had these initial injuries dated that led to the removal. And we found that the twins' injuries dated to in utero, which means during my pregnancy, at birth, and during their time of the neonatal intensive care unit stay. DCF and the court relied on the CPT provider, who had less experience than the multiple physicians that we had, who concluded that this was not abuse, including our own child abuse pediatrician, the founding father of child abuse pediatrics, Dr. Eli Newberger, reviewed our case and concluded that this was medical and not abuse. We've been fighting for nearly 3 years. My children cried for me, and they look for me when I'm not there. Our eldest keeps asking, who will be turning 11 this year, when will this end, because he wants to come home.
Members of Congress, my name is Fernando of the family Orzari. I stand before you not as a case number, but as a living man and father whose children were unlawfully seized by the Department of Children and Family, without a warrant, without charges, and without due process of the law. What happened to my family is not a mistake. It's a systematic kidnapping, trust fraud, and security trafficking committed under the color of law. Under Title 18 U.S.C. 241-242, it is a federal crime to conspire against the rights of the people. DCF had done exactly that, turning families into a financial instrument and our children into collateral. The core statement of all this, the Uniform Commercial Code and the Uniform Trust Code, demand that all fiduciaries act in good faith with consent and for the benefit of the beneficiaries. DCF violates every one of those principles, creating unconscionable contract, fabricating consent, and concealing the very record that prove innocence. Each child becomes a bonded security under Title 4E federal funding, traded and monetized through the state issue instrument without parents' knowledge. This is trust fraud and commercial exploitation of the American family. DCF conduct violates the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment by silencing parents who speaks out, the Fourth Amendment by seizing children without probable cause, the Fifth and 14th Amendment by denying due process and equal protection, the 13th Amendment by forcing servitude through unlawful compliance. This is a modern echo of the Sestake v. Trust Act of 1666, presuming the living to be legally dead, so the state administered their state acts as executor de santor. My final demand, Congress, your oath is to the Constitution, not to corporation disguised as agency. I demand immediate return of my children, Anaya, Amayas, and Adeline of the family of Rosari, and the abolishment of the fraudulent system that profits from human suffering. I call on you to pass the Family Justice and Accountability Act to end qualified immunity for children, for Child Protection Agency, mandate financial transparency, restore parental rights, and hold every official personally accountable for acts done under the color of law. When a government destroys family to fund itself, it ceases to be a government of the people. The time for polite silence has ended. The time for truth, justice, and accountability has arrived. Thank you. Thank you.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you, and nothing else could come between. But if you leave me to love another, you'll have shattered all of my dreams. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I'll always love you and make you happy.
What the hell is going on here?
Look at the other room. That's clean, Paula.
What is she?
I don't know what she's doing. She calls herself cleaning up, remodeling. Look, go over there.
I'm going to take the girls. So, Jake, you'll help me pack some stuff. I'm going to take them to my house so we can get this day settled down.
Yeah, look in there. That's where Stephanie sleeps. That's Stephanie's room.
Look right here. She painted this floor.
Well, I want to get. Hey, Caroline, do you have a little backpack, a little suitcase?
Yeah, I
Let's
got
pack some stuff.
I got hundreds of backpacks.
Well, why don't you go pick your favorite one and pick out some clothes. Pick out some clothes and socks and shoes.
Well, she painted those floors with regular paint.
mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I broke.
Hello, my name is Karen Michelle Miller Brown. At the time, the case began in the Bronx, as that's where the incident occurred. The venue was changed over to Suffolk County, and the case index number was 1747392. My ex had open visitation, although it was sporadic, while I raised the children myself. Over time, we reconciled. Timothy was born, and he became abusive again. My sons were now 13, 7, and 3 when Timothy came home from a visit bleeding, and he said that Daddy hurt him. I took him to the doctor, and CPS was contacted. I was advised to get a lawyer and file for divorce, but that case was closed. Even though there was medical evidence, a forensic expert on child sexual abuse, counselors that all stated that my son was abused. By July of 93, we entered into a stipulation. There were charges, criminal charges, in another court. I was forced to drop them, and they would give me custody, orders of protection, and a visitation schedule. I felt like I was going to go down one way or another. If I send them, I'll be held for neglect. And if I don't send them, they'll hold me for contempt. And sure enough, I was served with another contempt charge. The hearing took place around Halloween that year, with the verdict from the judge. I wasn't allowed to show any of the evidence. I was found in contempt. I was sentenced to 30 days in Suffolk County Jail on a civil contempt, and temporary custody was then transferred to my ex. After my incarceration, I got out with good behavior, and the sheriff handed me papers, and he said, "I think you'd like to have these." He said, "We weren't able to take you on a civil contempt," and we contacted the court, and they said they would take care of it. And they sent over a different charge, charging me with criminal contempt, without a hearing, all done ex parte. I'm pleading with you to pass the Family Justice and Accountability Act, authored by Francesca Amato. This can't go on any longer. This is an urgent matter, and we really need to save these children and families.
Hello, Congress members. My name is Justin Hornbeck. I am a compassionate, loving father. I am a Christian. I have 4 children, Brighton, Blaze, Bonnie, and Braxton, with Brandy Prince, their mother, that have been taken from us by CPS due to family hardship. They split our children up, put 2 with family, and they put the youngest 2. They were 4 and 3 at the time. The 2 oldest are twins. They were 5 at the time. They took the 2 youngest and put them with strangers in a female home. We were going through the reunification process, and right before we were to have our children returned to us, there were false allegations made by the foster home with the 2 women, and they did an investigation and kept us from seeing our children for a year. We continued going to court and complaining and trying to get our children back, with them denying us, denying evidence, denying polygraphs that we took from an ex-FBI agent. They wouldn't let us use him as a witness. They wouldn't accept his findings. They just kept denying us our children. They also removed the 2 youngest from the female home and put all of our children with family after months and over a year of going through this. No charges filed, just their allegations and them refusing to want to give us our children back. And they just recently removed them from the family they were with and put them with other family members. All of them still together, thank God. Thank you, Jesus. This has caused us nothing but heartache and pain, mental anguish, just horrible, horrible situation to be in. And I pray that no one ever has to be put in this situation, and I pray that no one ever gets put in this situation. Please pass this bill that we are presenting to you so that families aren't destroyed and so that America isn't destroyed. They are destroying America one family at a time. Thank you. God bless.
They've gone through 2 private attorneys already. Their first private attorney, even when it started, I had spoken with him, and he had said that they took a high-functioning autistic young woman who is independent, held down a driver's license, a job, rode horses, enjoyed her life, and because of one educational teacher making a wrong judgment call, now is this young minor, young woman has been in the state care and has now turned in from a high-functioning, independent young woman to a mental patient. Yeah. And those are the words of the attorney, and not just the first attorney, but their second attorney is saying the same thing.
And this was 2 years ago that the first attorney was saying it. So they've gone on in this nightmare for 2 years.
Something that I want to talk about that I feel like is not talked enough about in today's age is the levels of trauma that someone has to go through while they go through foster care. Did you know that the trauma that someone endures while in foster care is like the same PTSD levels as someone who was in like an active combat zone, like in the military? You know, that's how detrimental like foster care is to a child's mentality. For me, for example, right, I went through 28 different homes, and it could have been something as simple as not wanting to wash the dishes or mow the lawn, and you just get kicked out for whatever reason, and then you're just convinced that you're this bad child when you're really not. Like, your parents just really failed you, and now you're just going through the system. And if a foster parent decides that like you're too much for them, they can kick you out for whatever reason. Like, imagine making a mistake with your parents and they could just kick you out and just send you to the next home for any mistake that you made at any given time. Not to mention the weirdos that are foster parents, the ones who just do it for the money, and like you will never see any of that money. Like, you'll never get new clothes, you'll barely have anything to eat, you'll get put in group homes that are structured like prisons, like literal prisons. Like, I remember being in like 3 different group homes where I couldn't even leave, and we literally had gray jumpsuits that said, if you see me in public, call me in as a runaway, and if you ran away, you would go to juvie.
My name is Madison Levon, and my sister-in-law is the Michigan team lead for the Family Justice and Accountability Act. Today, I am sharing with you my experience as someone who was taken away by CPS as a child and then later placed back into the home where I experienced abuse and neglect. There was a particular instance in 2016, right after me and my twin had just turned 14 years old. My big brother was just about to be 19. This night, my mother, who at the time was abusing alcohol and cocaine and not treating her bipolar disorder, had physically assaulted my twin sister and my big brother. And then when my big brother attempted to remove my twin and I from the situation, my mother responded by pointing a gun at us and then herself. After 3 months of being taken away by CPS, I was forcibly placed back into her care, but only me. I was separated from my twin sister and my big brother, and this was extremely damaging to me and them. I know from my own experience, as well as others' experiences, what it's like to be forcibly placed back into a home filled with abuse due to how broken this system is. This act could change that for so many children.
Hello, Congress. My name is Natasha, and I would like to share my experiences with the family court, the CPS system, the amicus, all who have failed to protect my son from his abuser. In fact, they have allowed the abuser to keep him, even after all the emotional, physical, and psychological abuse he's been through. In fact, there's one instance when he was about 7 that he drew this picture explaining to me that his father and his father's wife were pointing firearms at him and coercing him to say things on camera that he did not want to. Otherwise, he would be punished if not. And when I brought this up to CPS, to the amicus, nothing was done. In fact, after my son made an outcry at school about this instance, I was the one who got a restraining order put on me, and my son was taken from me, and I couldn't see him for several weeks, which was horrendous, torturous. I couldn't do anything, but eventually, after fighting so hard to get him back, he came back home, and then more stuff happened, and still fighting to this day to keep him safe. He would like to share a few words.
Hi, Congress. My name is Ethan, and I've experienced lots of horrible experiences with Court and Chris. And when I talked to my reunification therapist, she said she could do nothing to help me, and I told her everything Chris has done, and she still said she couldn't help me. And I am not safe over there, but I am safe here with my mom. And here's a picture at my birthday party having fun with my mom and being safe. And here's another picture of me having family time with my mom. And
that is why we are asking you, Congress, to pass the Family Justice and Accountability Act
to keep
families safe.
Thank you.
I just wish the judge would listen to me. Every day in America, children cry out to be heard, and no one listens. Good parents lose their children. Good children lose their hope. The system meant to protect them looks away. This is not rare. This is not an accident. It's happening in every state, every courtroom, every day. Mothers and fathers, punished for protecting. Children, silenced when they tell the truth. This is what injustice looks like in America's family courts. Family courts were meant to protect families, but they've become an industry, one built on conflict, not care. Judges, attorneys, and agencies hold unchecked power. Truth is twisted into profit. Title IV funding rewards separation instead of healing. In over 60% of family court cases, abuse is alleged. Yet the protective parent loses custody nearly 70% of the time. That's not justice. That's devastation. My own children are living this nightmare. They've begged to be heard. They've begged for safety. but the system ignored them, again and again.
My friends know there's something wrong, and even my better friends who know my story, they'll go ahead and tell me they couldn't deal with what I've been dealing with. They would have committed a long time ago. And I'll get asked here and there, why haven't I? What's stopping me? And I can never tell. I don't know. I don't feel the same amount of emotions that most people do. My friends will go ahead and tell me, like, it's not your fault, but you don't feel. You can't feel. You've been made from the court system to not feel. And it's hard. It's been hard sometimes. Can't compare with some friends.
That is the sound of failure. That is the cost of a broken system. But it doesn't have to stay this way. We have the power to fix this. We have the legislation that can stop this from happening again. The Family Justice and Accountability Act. Members of Congress. This is not just policy, it's life and death. Every day you wait, more children are lost in silence. Listen to them. Stand with them. Vote yes on the Family Justice and Accountability Act. Because every child deserves to be heard.
The hidden trauma of removal. When children are taken from their parents, it's often described as rescue. But research shows removal itself is a trauma. Kids are pulled from their beds, their schools, their siblings, and placed with strangers. Even if the home wasn't perfect, the sudden loss of everything familiar leaves scars. Nightmares, trust issues, attachment disorders. The hidden trauma of removal. Yet this trauma is rarely counted when courts weigh the best interest of the child. We measure risk at home but ignore the damage done by removal. Ask yourself, are we protecting children or trading one wound for another?
Please pass the Family Justice and Accountability. This is a pandemic issue that is happening nationwide, but today I'm here to tell you only about my story. My name is Camilla Gasky, and my case is involved in family court, located in Los Angeles, California, where I used to live, and now I reside in Oregon. So from afar, I'm still ongoing this process and trying to regain custody back of my son. To back it up, at the very beginning, I was the primary caregiver of my son since birth. At the age of 4, they completely stripped me of having any custody of my son and given full custody over to Dad. They deemed me a flight risk without any evidence, without due process, and without any warrant. I hadn't even left that state that entire time to go to Oregon, where my whole family resides, so that they can meet my son. Instead, they had to fly all the way to California. But none of that mattered. I was deemed something without any cause. And ever since then, I now have supervised visits with my son, and that's the only way that I have any connection with him. Meanwhile, I feel like I'm being erased and extorted. It costs an extremely large amount of money for me to be a part of my son's life, and I only get a mere 8 hours a month to be able to see him. Meanwhile, I don't know where he goes to school, and he just started kindergarten. They slapped a restraining order on me because I started to speak out about this online and advocating for others that are going through similar struggles. Well, this was apparently a gag order to keep me quiet. I filed a federal lawsuit on the judge because of this. He didn't like that, so I was punished even further. I'm now deemed a fictitious litigant. I cannot even get a hearing in family court because I filed numerous times just requesting what can I do to regain custody. They want to keep me quiet and they want to erase me from my son's life. How is any of this fair? I had fertility struggles to even conceive my son. He is the only child that I will ever have. None of this is okay. None of this is right. I will keep fighting, but in the meantime, we need your help. Please, help the rest of us be able to have the rights to be a part of our kids' lives again. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's truly an honor to address our distinguished members of Congress. My name is Robert Ellis, and I'm a real estate agent and public utility contractor. I'm the lead for Oklahoma. My daughter was molested at the age of 3 by her stepfather and mother, and I filed for custody in Texas with 2 women judges and no DHS involvement in one in early September 2001. My daughter reported the abuse on 9/11, and an Oklahoma supervisor called threatened to charge me with neglect if I sent my children back and instructed me not to sign the custody orders the next week to accomplish this, and she disappeared from their life. Later, my children were targeted by DHS for unlawful removal without due process. I lost my contract, job, home, and had to relocate after they attacked my boss's family. Then DHS attempted to give custody to their mom in Texas until the guardian ad litem stepped in, stating that she was the worst mom that she'd ever seen, and ordered a forensics interview. My daughter's forensics interview was devastating. I'd like you to get it and watch it, if DHS will let you. The guardian ad litem stopped their visits at DHS, but DHS snuck the man that took my daughter's virginity at 3 in the back door and conducted more visits, during taking all hope of safety away from my children. My daughter was hit in the face by a caseworker and drug into the visitation room when she told her she wasn't taking her away from her daddy. She has scars on her arm today from it. These abusers told my daughter to report false sexual touching between them in order to go home. They were instantly removed from their family home and placed in abusive homes, causing them to act out sexually or to be falsely accused of it, then locked in multiple institutions. They were drugged to behave and suffered constant abuse and manipulation by professionals in the industry at the request of DHS. DHS then forced me to unlawfully adopt my children, labeling my children as not safe to be around each other or other children, and then threatened to put me in jail for 50 years to get me to comply. This was worse than the sexual abuse, and my son was adopted to a single gay man that lived with his mom. This man groomed my son sexually and his adopted brother, whom he did sexually abuse. My son was also drugged and told that he had Tourette's syndrome because of the side effects. It gave him tics and panic attacks. In the Sean Hornbeck case, he was kidnapped and held captive by a male perpetrator for 4 years, and his abuser was charged with 80 counts of abuse. How is my son and daughter's unconstitutional adoptions, which is classified as federal child sex trafficking, not being given the same justice? Under 18 U.S.C. 1201, it's unlawful kidnapping for the ransom or reward unless it's a child. It's a violation of the 14th Amendment and my right to maintain familial integrity. DHS has control over the whole system with no oversight, and my relationship with my children are strained because of the abuse they suffered, and they can't talk bad about DHS for fear of losing their children due to coerced threat of removal. They are not free to speak the truth, and the system also violates freedom of religion, conforming for perpetrating acts of abuse of America's children through nonprofit and corporate gain. Thank you.
Hi, Congress members. My name is Jody Gracer. My mom is Lori Gracer. We are Landon Fuller's biological family. He has been trafficked by Lawless Authority of Erie County CAT and another county of New York State for 6+ years. My son has special needs and has been abused in many different ways in forced foster care, especially Connor's Residential Treatment Center in Buffalo, New York, where they made him to a child rapist at now 14 years old. They had him since December 2nd, 2019. The last time I was allowed to visit him was supervised on July 15, 2022. Since then, my parental rights have been lawlessly terminated by the lies of a misdiagnosed disorder of being delusional by Lawless, Dr. Nathan, a paid gun by Erie County and Niagara County Court, New York. Because I suggest my son is autistic and or vaccine injured, he's both, but I'm not allowed to prove that with hardcore evidence and or any of my witnesses either. Everything about my case is lawless, and my mom's as well. I'm trying to get custody of him. She was denied to have him returned to her home as well. She went to the appeal court in Rochester, New York to speak her truth in front of the judges about the abuse of her biological grandson at Connors, and she was ignored as well. Her appeal was denied and is returned to her home. The judges took down and deleted her video, public testimony, like she never went there in person to tell it. Because the lower of the higher courts sleep in the same bed, they do not want the truth about the child trafficking industry, the public knowledge there to cash cow, threatened, or drained forever. My son's been so abused it'll be hard to heal him from everything they made him suffer in. When he returns home to me, I'll have a lot of help with his healing. This evidence was ignored by Sharon M. Laval of Erie County Family Court in Buffalo, New York, as well as the embedded courts. My son was illegally adopted as well. We're asking you to support the Family Justice Accountability Act 2025, made by AD Advocate Francesca Amato and witness to my landmark case in federal court denial case against Judge Laval because the judge court said she can't be sued. It's your job to protect the constitutional rights, freedoms, and liberties of us in the United States of America, that you punish those in all authority, break the laws, that bind them to the full extent of the law, so they never break another law again. I hope you do your job from here and help us get the justice and recompense that we deserve from this continued torture of the child trafficking industry. Because of this unchecked abuse and power over the mass for way too long, that has destroyed millions of biological families for too many moons. I hope that I see that my son is sent to me home very soon. I've never been convicted of any crime nor any addict. I've done nothing wrong, and the same goes for my mom. We've broken no laws. We deserve to have the laws followed to be able to live with my son in peace, free from all government pressure, tyranny, and anything else stops from living as we see fit. As long as we don't hurt anyone or their property, that's the law, and it should be followed every time with no exceptions. This happened because I refused to give my son a chickenpox vaccine. I was called extremely anti-government. I'm to be left alone to decide what's best for me and my son is love and protect and only ever a mother. Government that follows the laws that bind them and stays out of biological families' lives, I'm good. This pic was the last time I was allowed to be able to be with my son, even supervised. How would you like it if your biological child was trafficked and you were stopped from protecting them? Put yourself in all of us victims' shoes. It's torture, isn't it? And thank you for your time.
Hello, Congress. Francesca, parents without our kids, and esteemed guest. My name's Matthew Borman. I'm a Leon County, Florida resident, made a criminal for being a father. Some of you may know my child, Jeremy Borman. He's a second-year student at American University right there in D.C. He's studying to become a foreign intelligence agent. The last time I heard from my son was in 2023 after I was arrested at his high school graduation. Jeremy says he loves me, but for the past 8 years, he's treated me as his enemy. Jeremy maintains a deceit to keep his stepdad's name a secret through a years-long gaslighting silent treatment. I was with Jeremy almost every day until he turned 12 years old. When I separated from Mom, a gun went missing that remains on our streets in Leon County, Florida, because investigators who confiscate stolen guns don't investigate stolen guns. They don't work in the property department. The truth has been disclosed to the proper authorities, and actions are finally being taken. My child was able to be taken from my custody because loving family relationships do not provide profit to sworn state officials. Sworn officials are required by duty to report criminal activity, but they don't. Each department conspires to aid the other in this illegal activity. Under constitutional law, qualified or sovereign immunity does not protect against felony criminal conduct. But who do you tell when you can't tell the sheriff or the prosecuting attorney? My testimony to FDLE is proof that justice will prevail, only 8 years too late. I have numerous times tried to contact now Senator Moody about the matters I have mentioned. She was then Florida State's Attorney General. My calls then fell to deaf ears. Miss Moody, I again call on you to uphold my parental rights. I would be in person if my son was not a resident of your town. I fear that should I visit your town, I would knock every door, only to be left crying in a corner, or worse, put in jail. We implore you to release our children from the tyranny of government control and enforce our parental rights. Take the profit off our children. If government can send 4 cops to jump my fence and keep me from my child, then government can send 1 cop and deliver my kid to me. Maybe you can deliver my kid to me. If you see or know my child, Jeremy Borman, please tell him that his father loves him very much. Know that I've never harmed or been physical with my child, and I never wish anything more in life than to be his dad. I prayed for him to come home, and now it's time. I love you, son.
Motherhood is a journey of endless discovery, where every moment is a precious gift. In every little giggle, every tiny hand grasping mine, I found a love deeper than I ever imagined. Through sleepless nights of breastfeeding and joyful days of playing, cooking, and mothering, my heart grew with every heartbeat of my daughters. Being a mother means carrying a piece of my heart outside of myself and connected to 2 little humans forever. Behind these moments of joy, what others may not see is that I was enduring domestic violence. It was on the day he broke my purple glasses with the back of his hand to my face that I knew I had to leave. My decision to leave, however, led to a heartbreaking outcome. The very children I nurtured with mindfulness, bonding, connection, presence, and emotional attunement and love were stolen from me and placed into isolation with our abuser. The family court system led to further harm instead of our freedom. It's been almost 300 days since I've been separated from my daughters with no contact.
Mom?
Hi.
Mom, somehow he filed out a thing, and we're not being with you for Thanksgiving.
Is that what he told you? I have a schedule that says I pick you up at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. How are you feeling, sweetie?
I wanted to be with you on Thanksgiving.
I know. Yeah, it's our turn this year. I was really looking forward to spending it with you and Dasha. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I don't know how I can fix this. What do you want?
I wanted to be with you.
I know. I love you and I wanted to be with you too.
It's just like a normal Thanksgiving here every single year. But in that place, we don't.
I know. I'm gonna see. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry, sweetie. I'm so sorry. Did you tell Dad what your feelings were?
No, they don't really care about me wanting to be with you on Thanksgiving because they already filed it on the email.
I love you.
Five years of this, my brain is fried. I can't explain. Our case keeps getting longer. I can't keep explaining it without starting to stutter and cry. Do you know, I have to repack all this. I just sit there and stare at it and start crying. Like, it's just unfathomable.
My kid said, we're not allowed to hug you during exchanges. It'll make Dad mad. Now he just says, the kids don't want to talk to her. The kids don't want to see her. So it took 5 weeks to align this with a supervised visitor. I knew Bruce was going swimming, no feedback on the swimsuits, if he was bringing them or not. I'm like, because he's not bringing them. He's just going to show up and tell the kids not to get out of the car.
If anybody is in Atlanta, Georgia, like, I'm tired. Yo, defects is doing whatever they want to do. My children were never supposed to be taken if they were not in any imminent danger, without a court order presented to me, without an investigation, a 30 to 90 day investigation. I've never had my children taken. I've never been to jail. I don't understand why I deserve this or what's going on. Muskogee County defects is ignoring me. Atlanta, Georgia is ignoring me. I keep trying to get attention. The OCA, child advocate, everyone is ignoring me, and my children are being abused in foster care. They should have never been in foster care. I was never given a chance for them to go to family, kinship, a neighbor, church members, no one. I've never been on drugs. I've never been to jail. My children are suffering. They threw my 8-year-old son on ADD pills, on ADHD medicine, without my knowledge, without my consent. They're trying to put my 2 youngest boys in their 3rd foster home and won't give me evidence as to why the children got to keep being gone. They won't give me evidence on why the children had to be taken. I've never received a case plan. They keep on lying, saying that they tried to give me a case plan. I've been to 5 court dates, and all 5 court dates, I've not been allowed to speak. They've never looked at any of my evidence. I've never received a case plan until June 4th. And even when I received that case plan, it was taken back from me and I never saw it again. I had to ask them, beg them for a case plan, but even now it's not valid. Please, I need someone in Atlanta, Georgia to care. I don't understand how this is okay. I've done everything possible. I pour into my children. My 8-year-old son skipped kindergarten and 1st grade. I only have one daughter. Her hair is falling out. They watch her hair fall out. Pus bumps on my baby son's genitalia. There are all kind of neglect. My baby son, my 2-year-old baby son, ate up by poison ivy. They keep doing whatever they want to do. And they keep saying that my children have to remain in foster care. My children were not in any danger. There's no neglect, no abuse on my background, no child trafficking, nothing on my background. I feel like I'm done. Please, I have 3 sons and 1 daughter. Please, my children didn't have a scratch on them before being thrown 3 hours away into a random foster care home. Please.
You'll always be my home, my heart. I'll be with you wherever you are. My home, my heart. I feel you with me when we're worlds apart. You'll always be my home. Oh, 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 oh. You accept me for my flaws. You give me everything and more. Even in our darkest nights, I know you're there right by my side. Somehow with you, I don't feel alone. You'll always be my home, my heart. I'll be with you wherever you are. My home, my heart. I feel you with me when we're worlds apart. You'll always be my home. Oh, 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 oh. You'll always be my home.
In a devastating tale of corruption and retaliation, a small-town sheriff, already notorious for jailing his own brother, has weaponized the legal system to seize custody of his cancer-stricken 2-year-old son from the boy's devoted mother. For months, she has been the child's primary caretaker, guiding him through every grueling chemo session and holding him through every moment of pain. But when this courageous mother began to notice disturbing signs of psychological abuse and sought the help of a child abuse specialist, the sheriff launched a vindictive custody battle.
Now you're gonna pay for it.
In what appears to be a chilling act of retaliation. Despite medical and video evidence of the father's harmful behavior, a rushed emergency hearing, where the mother was grossly misrepresented by her own attorney, resulted in the court granting custody to the sheriff. Adding to the outrage, the judge and the father's lawyer were revealed to be friends on social media, casting a dark shadow over the entire process. This isn't just a custody battle. It's a brutal act of vengeance by a man drunk on power, leaving a devoted mother to fight against a system rigged against her. In a system that claims to value justice, how did a mother's love lose to a man's unchecked power? How have we allowed a 2-year-old child to become caught in this crossfire of injustice? Custody cases should be decided based on the interest of the child, not the interest of a power-hungry officer seeking to silence a woman's concerns for her child's safety. If this situation brings up strong feelings within you, your voice can make an impact. Be a voice for Isaac, share this story, and bring Isaac back.
My name is Felicia Brock, and I have been victimized by Child Protective Services. As a minor, I went to foster home until I was a teenager and had my own kids. And they used my mom's permanent cases against me to remove my children. My second set of children, they just kept taking them due to domestic violence, due to being homeless. And they should not be able to do that because we are victims. They should be able to help us. But instead, they remove our children. 2 of my children have been raped in foster care by a guy named Indy Hart. My kids suffer from trauma every day of separation. They have anxiety, PTSD. They are being mentally abused, emotional abuse. Every single day, they use our children against us and the timing against us to be able to take permanent custody of our children, and that should not be allowed. These are against our constitutional rights. I approve this bill because it's going to help me. It's going to help other families who has been through the ringer with these people. The mental health of our children is very important. They do not care. When they remove a child from a mom, they don't care about the mental health. Only to use the fact that a child's mental health, being with a foster parent over a certain time, will affect their mental health, but it doesn't affect their mental health. They don't care. My kids want to come home. I've been fighting for 2.5 years, and they're trying to use my past permanent custody cases against me. I have not been able to have a chance to mother my child because of the law, the Ohio law, stating that children's services agencies can just go after permanent custody if their sibling has been in permanent custody agencies before, and they can use the timing against you. That is another thing. So I encourage you to make a difference and change our lives, our children's lives, so they can come home and not allow permanent custody no more.
Dear ladies and gentlemen of Congress, my name is Kara Raymond, and I am also sharing a story of separation and trafficking. It started off in June of 2018 when I gave birth to a son who was 6.8 pounds and was separated me for 3 days and returned to me at 4 pounds 10 ounces and with an entirely different ankle band that did not match me, breaking hospital protocol. They also let unauthorized individuals into my room to try to force me to sign surrogate paperwork. When I refused, they then produced a false document that alleged I had failed a drug test and it did not have my blood type that even matched on it. They then had a community nurse from the county supposedly requesting my records. I did not sign this, and they still released my records. They proceeded to let another mother into my room, and she was very concerned with my child. And eventually, when I confided in her that I think the hospital gave me the wrong child, she deleted me off of all social media, blocked me, and I proceeded to get a phone call threatening that if I came forward, certain things would happen to me. I proceeded to get a DNA test done that was admissible in court, and those records were stolen, and I have the copies of the evidence that these ones are fabricated and forged and altered. These documents no longer show my birth date, they no longer show my blood type, and they are on regular black and white paper. The original one came on hard cardstock and was, again, admissible in court. You can also see that the name was signed in permanent marker, not regular ink. And I also proceeded to notify the Washington County Sheriff's Department and the Portland, Oregon Police. They failed to act or report or even file a case number so we can have it looked into. I was then harassed by a PI who alleged that I could potentially be a different missing child named Madeline McCann, which further complicated my court case. And then the attorney generals and state medical boards wouldn't step in. And with this dismissal, I hope that your agency agrees to pass the Justice and Accountability Bill. Thank you for your time.
I'm Dr. Barbara Sharif, State Senator for District 35. I'm speaking today on behalf of the Pattersons and countless other families across Florida and this nation whose lives have been torn apart by wrongful child abuse accusations. Cases where specific documented medical conditions mimic signs of abuse. These families are trapped in the Department of Children and Families system, losing their dependency cases and in too many instances, their children forever. The Pattersons' twin sons are about to be adopted out despite overwhelming evidence that their conditions are medical, not criminal. This fight is not just about the Pattersons. It's about every family experiencing these same injustices. During the hearings of my bill, SB 304, more than 11 families came forward to testify and over 58 advocates stood with us. The bill passed 3 Senate committees and the Senate floor unanimously and cleared 2 House committees unanimously before being killed in the 3rd House committee after DCF circulated misleading information about the Pattersons. I have done everything the right way, working within the legislative process, bringing forward solutions, and building broad bipartisan support. But without stronger protections and more time for families to prove their innocence, these injustices will continue. The children at the center of these cases often suffer from rare conditions such as von Willebrand's disease, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, rickets, vitamin D deficiency, clotting disorders, and more. Some premature infants' conditions are worsened by the administration of Pitocin during labor. These children may present with unexplained bruising, fractures, or internal injuries not from abuse but from their underlying health issues. As a nurse practitioner with 34 years of experience, I have seen the horrors of real child abuse. It is emotionally devastating. That is why I initially refused to even review the Pattersons case until I finally did. After months of reviewing the medical records, I saw the pattern. Isolated incidents that, when strung together without context, create the false appearance of abuse. Yet, these same parents often have other healthy children at home who have never had child abuse accusations. The real problem lies in the timeline. Under current law, once a report is filed, children are removed immediately and the hearing is held in 21 days to determine placement. But the specialized medical tests needed to uncover the true cause of these injuries takes 6 to 8 weeks per child, plus testing the parents. That means family cannot possibly gather the evidence needed in time and are forced to keep fighting for years. The Pattersons have been fighting since their twins were 2 months old. Those boys are just turning 3. Their children are with relatives who love them, but the boys know their parents and they want to go home. The Pattersons also have a stepson who wants to be reunited. Both parents are highly educated, respected professionals. Tasha is a board-certified gerontological nurse practitioner, and Michael is an administrative IT professional. They have lost their jobs, their financial stability, and nearly everything they own while fighting to clear their names in both dependency court and in criminal court. This is unsustainable. These parents and others like them are fighting for their freedom, their children, and their futures, all because of conditions their children were born with. I have carried this fight as a state senator and as a doctor of nursing practice, but I cannot carry it alone anymore. We need the public advocates, medical professionals, and legal experts to stand with us now before more children grow up without their parents and before more families are destroyed by a broken process. If you can help through advocacy, medical expertise, legal support, or simply by sharing these stories, please contact us at the information provided below. This is not just a legislative issue. This is a human rights issue. We must give families a fair chance to prove their innocence and bring their children home.
Ladies and gentlemen, Today I stand before you not just as a parent who has faced the excruciating loss of my rights to my children temporarily, but as a beacon of hope for anyone navigating through the dark tunnel or even faced injustice leading to losing their parental rights. It is a path filled with unimaginable pain, but also within us lies the power to spark change and inspire healing for ourselves and our children. When the system meant to protect the innocent is manipulated, it can leave its victims feeling powerless. Losing my rights wasn't just a legal battle. It was the personal earthquake that shook the very foundation of my identity as a parent. Even in those moments of despair, I discovered an unendable truth. The love for our children transcends any decision made within the courtroom walls. This is not simply my narrative. It is an illustration of resilience. The road through losing our parental rights is fraught with an emotional turmoil. There were times when my children and I were pulled apart by forces beyond our control. Yet, through every tear, I found resolve. Through every moment of hopelessness, I discovered strength. And today I stand to say that my children are placed into my care. Yet, still navigating through this chapter within the system, I find myself continuing to fight this ongoing battle and work that they could be removed yet again, because the Kentucky state goal is to return to place of removal. But this isn't just solely about me. This is about the bright young souls caught in this storm. My children have endured trauma that no child should ever have to face. It is vital that we recognize the profound impacts regarding injustice of parental rights termination on their hearts and minds. Yet aim this. Let's remember, children possess an incredible capacity for resilience. As we navigate through these challenging times, we must arm ourselves, not with not just love, but with knowledge. By raising awareness and advocating for change, we are creating a future where no parent or child will endure such isolation. In every challenge lies an opportunity, and in my struggle, I found my purpose to empower others and transform their pain into a force for good. Let us stand united, not just for our children, but for every child and parent facing similar battles. To those who find themselves in the grip of this painful reality, I urge you, do not let the shadows of today dim the brightness for tomorrow. Together we can build a more compassionate system, one where love, understanding, and justice prevail. Remember, we are warriors of change, and together we will rise stronger and more determined than ever. Congress members, please consider passing the Family Justice and Accountability Act. Thank you. I am Jordan Murray, representing myself, my story, and the people of Kentucky.
You have one more day here.
No, I want to go home now.
No.
I want to go home now.
No.
Yes.
No. You can scream all you want to.
No, I want to go home.
You're not
now.
You're not gonna
I want to go home now. I want to go home.
Okay, let's go home.
No, I want to go home.
I'm gonna call the police because I'm not. You broke my.
I don't want to be here.
Well,
I hate it here.
well, now you're gonna be in trouble.
I want to go home. I hate it here. I want to go home.
You have to call the police.
No, I want to go home.
Why do you want to go home? You can't go home.
I want to go
Can you
home.
call 911 because she just broke the.
I don't want to be here.
Throwing her head
I
up.
want to be here.
You need to call the
I
police.
want to go home. I don't want to go home.
That means I'm leaving with her.
Because
Because you can't just take one of us away.
We're calling the police. No one's. She can't stay here like that.
That means they're taking me with her.
Well, talk to her about that.
I told you guys. I warned you.
I want to go home. I hate it here.
Yeah, but
I
hopefully she's
want to
breaking
go
everything.
home.
She can't stay here.
I want to go home.
She broke it with her hand, and then she's ramming her head up against the window. The thing is
I
open.
don't want to be here. I want to go home.
They're just gonna say to call the police, and she has to go.
I want to go home.
Do you here?
I want to go home.
Well, you stop screaming if I call your aunt.
No, call the cops.
You told me to call the police.
I want to go home.
Do you want me to call your aunt?
Nah, what?
So then you need 5 minutes of none of this screaming and crying, and I will call your aunt. I'm setting the timer.
I can't.
You can't cry for 5 minutes?
I want her now.
No.
I want her now.
No, because you just broke my thing. Please. You just broke my thing. I need 5 minutes.
I just want y'all to know that this is literally what it's like when you're literally corrupted with the family court system. I hope that you all pass this bill, and I hope that you all shine a light for these people so they don't have to look like this anymore. I'm so scared for my child. I am so depressed. I am so worried about her mental and emotional health. I am so worried about mine. I'm getting migraines.